Good day guys, I'm Vishan from USJ4x4. So firstly, I would like to wish everybody celebrating Chinese New Year a happy Chinese New Year, and those who are not, happy holidays. It's the second day of Chinese New Year for us here in Malaysia. Yeah, me and the boys are still around. We are finishing up on the Range Rover Classic front bumper and a couple of other projects. Leong is still not back. He's in Teluk Intan. He'll be back somewhere around February 3rd, maybe, or February 4th. That's when we officially open. But anyhow, that aside, so today it's quite cool because I've want to update regarding two projects. The first one being the MasterAce Surf. So this vehicle, when it came to us initially, it was 2Y engine. So anybody who knows a 2Y, you could barely pull a skin off a rice pudding. It's gutless. And with that, obviously the owner had plans to change this into not just a camper van, but he wanted something that was very capable off-road as well. So with that, we put in 1KZ from the HiAce, the HiAce van, which we managed to source for a half cut. And those who know, the HiAce van does not have true four-wheel drive, so it's an all-wheel drive system. But anyhow, we managed to source for a transfer case that can fit in, that has low range and high range. Plus the van, this MasterAce, has hub locks. So with that, it makes it a proper four-wheel drive. So some of the challenges that we faced building this vehicle was, a lot of people would think that the entire frame or the entire drivetrain is similar to a Surf, because I think the full name is like MasterAce Surf. That's what this van is called, but that's where the similarities stop. So the rear end, maybe you can say, is a bit similar because it still has the falling setup with the panhard, but you can't use components from the Surf onto it. It sort of has its own diameter spring and also absorber eyelets. So it took a bit of research to see what was suitable for it, but we managed to put it on a full 2-inch lift paddle kit, front and rear, with front being for the torsion bar and then rear is the coils. At the same time, it has no chassis, so it has a subframe in the front, so that made things very hard to modify. And we wanted to fit, the goal with this car was, with this van was, we wanted to fit 31-inch tires, and I think it's possible now. Like, after all the work that we have done, we managed to do a subframe drop of 80 mm, which is quite significant. But with that, it allows us to clear bigger tires while maintaining drive shaft angle in the front. And what we plan to do is, if the owner is alright with it, maybe fit lockers in the rear, which gives it a lot more capability. Another thing is, most van builds you see, they sort of have skinny width of tire track, because they want to maintain the sliding door at the back, or even if they do mod the sliding door, it just slightly gives it a bit more room to have wider offset rims. In this case, we are just scrapping it. We're going to make the side doors to open upwards, and that way we can have a lot more wider stands. And of course, with 31s, we would have to do a bit of body trimming and panel beating, but the owner is alright with that. And I really want to see this van on 31s. I think it would be epic before we do all the bar work around it. So that is that for the Surf right now, I think. And then what we're going to put in now is the main things that we're going to get done is the doors and the lithium battery. So there's a 560 amp AH lithium battery that is going to go in the van. But where I'm planning to put it is at the back, where we can actually make space by cutting off the floor and dropping it and keeping the center of gravity low, because it does weigh quite a bit. So if we can keep those batteries sort of low down in the van, but obviously protected as well, would be ideal. And then the next one that we just got, which I'm quite honored to get, because for those who know, like, I'm a fan of the 40 series. I have a soft spot for it. I've owned mine for 10 years, but I've only now started building it. Mulan, that's what I call her. And the 40 series that we got, it's from an owner that had his own workshop. He used to build custom cars as well, but rarely vehicles. So it was sort of nice that someone who is in the field, but he's retired now, so he wanted someone else to build his car. And it's nice to have someone who is in the field that trusts us to build a vehicle for him. So the plan with this vehicle is, had already why I was willing to take on the project was how he did start off with the car was it was a full stock standard 40 series, but he bought an entire LJ77 or LC2 Shorty and wanted to transplant almost everything over. So he got his apprentice to do the engine and the gearbox transfer over to the 40 series. So that is done, but this is a while back. So all this was done like at least 7 years ago or 8 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. I'm not sure. Okay, I'm not sure regarding timeline, but it was done quite a while back. So of course there's a bit of things that we can improve, like the engine mounts and the gearbox mounts that we'll be doing back. But at the same time, the axles are still standard. He wants us to put that in the LC2 Shorty axles into it, so it'll be a coil-sprung vehicle front and rear. And also the reason was I was okay with it was he's willing to do everything new, like how I like to do build. So we are putting in brand new pedal suspension, new bushes, new bearings, new seals. We're rebuilding the entire LC2 axles before putting them into the vehicle. And again, I want to forgive regarding the audio, because my boys are actually working. They're still going full-blown grinder mode. But yeah, that's the thing in a workshop. So coming back to the 40 series, he's willing to do everything. We would have to do custom shafts as well, front shaft, rear long shaft. And while we are there, the funny thing is, this car had not been started for 4 years before coming to us. So when we did get it, the first thing we wanted to do was see whether it's even startable, and it's already had the 1KZ in it. And keep in mind, it was sort of left out in the elements. You can tell by the ECU was wet. The injector lines are corroded, that you can, it's basically you press it hard enough, you would sprung a leak. But Leong dried out. We opened up the ECU. Leong managed to dry it out. He got the fuel lines are leaking, so that's rusted out and corroded, and that's done. So that would have to be replaced down the road. But for now, our focus still underneath. And guess what? We still managed to get it started. Of course, a lot of components are jammed up, but it's still started, and that's bloody amazing for a car that's Toyota for you. Like, it has not been started for 4 years, and now you can start it. So pretty impressed with that. And of course, the engine work and all, maybe later on in the build, and also the body work. So the thing is, it came from a body shop, and there's just like filler on top, and then the bottom end is just full-blown rusted. So I'm not sure, like, why would people do it that way? I cannot brain that. But anyway, that's something for later on to discuss. I'm just happy that we can work on another 40 series. Although, and this would be a diesel this time. I mean, I've built a couple of V8 ones, but I'm building is also a diesel. It's an inline 6. So yeah, both of these cars, the van and the Land Cruiser, both will be a 1KZ build. The only drama I find with this engine is obviously heat, but we can sort of overcome that if we run like auxiliary water pumps, bigger radiator, make sure the there's ATF coolers on it to keep the overall system cool and happy. So there are things that we can be done to actually counter whatever issues that the 1KZ has from factory, being indirect injection and things like that, and where the thermostat location is. So with all that being said, thank you guys so much for the support, and also for on all social media platforms that you guys support. And please stay tuned for the other updates regarding the Range Rover, the 60 series, the Classic Mini, the Jeep TJ that we're going to build, and a few more other cars. Once again, thank you so much. Catch you guys on the next one. Thank you.